All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here today to hear Jovan's presentation. He's going to give us an introduction to diabetes, and he is actually going to do this one more time next week and help you take some of the information from today and actually apply it, so that you'll leave with some true first step to get you started. So I will let Jovan have the show, and we are excited to hear from you.
Thank you, Taylor. All right, so like I said, my name is Jovan Sajady. This presentation is just kind of a general overview about diabetes, what it is, a little bit about why it happens, and some of the basic principles regarding it. I am on my way to becoming an RD, or registered dietitian myself. This whole topic is kind of special to me because I myself am a type 1 diabetic. So I was diagnosed when I was 17. I'm 23 now. So I've been living with it for 6 years myself. So yeah, this presentation, I don't know where you guys are. Maybe you were recently diagnosed yourself. Maybe you've had it for a while and just kind of want to touch up on things. Like Taylor said, this one's just an overview. The next one will be more about application, about the information that we've learned, and putting together a few more parts of the puzzle. So with diabetes, controlling your blood sugar is obviously the #1 priority with having good blood sugar management. So at this point in time, this statistic that 34.2 million Americans are diagnosed with diabetes, that was in 2018. And really these numbers have just been steadily increasing over time. There's not really any signs of it slowing down. So it's probably a bit more now. And it's a little bit over 10% of Americans. And diabetes, if you haven't heard, it increases your risk for heart disease, stroke, nerve damage, or neuropathy, kidney damage, or nephropathy, and many more things. And the reason why it kind of affects so many different parts of your body is because it's about your blood sugar. And since your blood circulates to basically every part of your body, they all end up being kind of affected if you have poor management. So paying attention to your nutrition is probably the best thing you can do as far as having good blood sugar levels. If you think about it, your blood sugar really comes from anything that you are eating. So your whole diet is what kind of makes up your blood sugar. One kind of common thing people talk about are like, oh, you're diabetic, maybe you should try the keto diet. If you don't know what that is, basically it's like a almost zero carb diet. And it's really not the best idea to do because for one, almost every cell in your body is adapted and like evolved to use carbohydrates as a primary energy source. So depriving your body of like what it most wants to use as energy really isn't the best idea. Second of all, carbs are delicious. We all like carbs. It's part of a balanced diet. Different carb sources have different nutrients that we need. So cutting carbs out from your diet may not be providing yourself with the nutrition you need overall. And third of all, if you're diabetic, you may have bouts of hypoglycemia or low blood sugar. And really the only fix to this is eating carbs. So if you end up being low and you're not eating carbs, you're kind of up a river without a paddle, so to speak. So putting together meals that kind of have a proper balance of macronutrients, so carbs, proteins, and fats, those are the keys to having steady blood sugar levels that'll keep you having good control and can help minimize complications down the road. And this topic right here is what we're going to be mostly talking about with the next presentation, so you'll have a little bit more of an application. So working with a registered dietitian is important because we are the #1 nutrition experts out there. You might have heard of nutritionists, and they also study nutrition, but they're not really bona fide at all. It'd be like going to a toothologist if you have a cavity. You don't really know if they're certified, you don't know what they know. So going to a dietitian is the best person you can really go to. Not only are we trained in diet knowledge and knowing all about nutrition, but we also know how to get people to apply that information to their lives. I mean, with the internet, you can basically learn how to do anything, or you can basically learn anything, but actually knowing how to do these things and apply them, that's a lot harder. So working with a dietitian can help you actually apply these, all these principles and all the knowledge into your own life. And then another thing is that we all really do like food. Almost every dietitian, we all really like food. So we don't want you to have to eat a really bland, boring diet. We want you to be able to enjoy food and have a healthy lifestyle at the same time. So there's a few different types of diabetes. There's type 1, like myself. It's an autoimmune disorder, meaning that Auto meaning yourself, and immune meaning your immune system, as in your immune system is attacking yourself. So basically the beta cells or the insulin producing cells in your pancreas get destroyed by the immune system, so you have no insulin. Type 2, it's a little bit like like say you drink coffee a lot. At first, maybe 1 cup, that gets you where you need to be. After a while, you keep drinking it, and you kind of make a tolerance to it, so you need to drink more and more and more. So initially, your pancreas can keep up with this. They can make more insulin. But after a while, it's not really doing the trick, and it can't make enough insulin to keep up with where you need to be. And then thirdly, there is gestational diabetes. This is basically diabetes from pregnancy. When you're pregnant, there's a whole ton of hormones going on, and a lot of times this kind of messes up your blood sugar too. For the most part, you can kind of get this under control with proper diet and exercise. About like 10% of women with gestational diabetes, they will need hormone or insulin therapy. So this picture here kind of gives you a kind of a visual representation of what's going on. Window all the way. Yeah, so this picture kind of illustrates what's going on here. So can you guys see my cursor, Taylor?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. So type 1, like myself, this insulin here, this isn't here at all. Actually, let me back up a little bit. This glucose right here that you see, this is basically your blood over here. So the glucose in your blood kind of represents what your blood sugar is. Now the goal is to get the glucose inside of the cell. So what needs to happen is this insulin receptor needs to have an insulin hormone into there in order to open up this glucose transporter to let glucose into the cell. So for type 1 like myself, this insulin isn't there. This insulin receptor is never going to be able to open up this right here. So if you have type 2 diabetes, on the other hand, basically what happens is for whatever reason, this insulin isn't really opening up this receptor, and as a result, the glucose stays in your bloodstream and doesn't actually enter the cell. And that's why you end up with hyperglycemia or high blood sugar, because things are staying in your bloodstream and not able to go into your cell like they're supposed to. So the actual ways to manage blood sugar, it kind of varies among types. So for type 1, you need to check your blood sugar. So you can either use the finger pokes, or I have this Dexcom right here. And it's got a little wire that sits under my skin, and it'll read it out to my phone or my insulin pump, which kind of brings me to the insulin injections part. You either can use needles to inject insulin, and that'll let your glucose into your cell. Or like me, I use a pump, so it just kind of has a wire or a tube that always feeds me insulin, and I can tell it how much I need to take. And then also in the instance of low blood sugar, like we talked before, you sometimes need to have some carbs to bring your blood sugar back up. For type 2, it's not too different. You do need to check your blood sugar on occasion. It depends, where you are at, but you will need to check your blood sugar. Initially, usually we'll just do lifestyle changes, so improving your diet, incorporating exercise in your lifestyle. Sometimes you need oral medications. Usually they help your pancreas work better, or there's a few other mechanisms of action that kind of all help to control your blood sugar. Or farther down the road, you may need insulin to actually help control your blood sugar that way. And then just like type 1, you might need some carbs on occasion in case you have a low blood sugar. So working with an RD, it's really important because we can kind of figure out where you're at with your management, where you're at with your knowledge, and help you build from there. And then we can also look at your blood sugar levels and kind of match them up to what you've been eating and see kind of how different foods are affecting your blood sugar. We can see how different times of day are affecting your blood sugar. There's something called dawn phenomenon, which we'll talk about more in the next session. And then we can also look at your diet and kind of see what's conducive to having good blood sugars, what's kind of holding you back from having good blood sugars. And then we can kind of tweak things in a way that's not going to make you hate your diet. We can make sure that you still enjoy eating. It doesn't have to be boring all the time. And finally, we can help you set goals to actually start moving you towards having a healthier A1C, which if you didn't know is kind of like a overall average of what your blood sugars have been. It's kind of an indicator for how well your management's been. And then it's also nice because we can provide accountability. A lot of times we kind of know what we need to do, but it's hard to push ourselves to actually do the things. So if you have another person kind of watching along and it kind of helps you make sure that you're doing what you need to do. So after this, I am offering one-on-one consultations with you guys. If you ever just want to meet, talk about things, get personalized advice and feedback, I'm here to help you with that as part of my education. So I'm more than happy to do it for you guys. Like I said, I'm diabetic myself, so I kind of understand exactly what you're going through, and I have, you know, a good amount of knowledge under my belt to help you out as well. So that's kind of the end for this one. Like we said before, is just kind of a general overview, quick, yeah, just a quick overview to kind of get everyone up to the same speed. Because like I said, I don't know where you guys are at. For the next one, we're going to talk a little bit more about the actual principles of diabetes management and actually putting together like a healthy plate and having foods that actually encourage healthy blood sugars. And we'll talk about other things too, like high blood sugars, low blood sugars, snacks, things of that nature. There'll be a lot more application. I think you guys have a little bit more to take away from it. So if you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to unmute your mic or put them into the chat.
When is the next session?
It's gonna be the same exact time in 1 week. So what's the date today? It's the 8th. Yeah. So it'll be the 15th of October at 6 o'clock as well.
Well, there's no questions yet in the chat. Feel free, you guys, to type out if you have anything or speak. But thank you, Jovan. That was very thorough. And it was a great intro to diabetes. So he is our intern right now and has been with us for a few weeks and has several weeks left. So if anyone listening today would be interested in that one-on-one consultation, you can sign up and you'll be able to meet directly with him free of charge, and he's got a lot of positive wisdom to share. So if you're interested, send me an email or feel free to call my phone number.